Hi guys, it's Misty. Welcome to another card video. I have a card to share with you today featuring these adorable images from Purple Onion Designs. This cute little bunny with these floppy ears, his name is Birch, and I'm also using the snow cabin on a hill background stamp as well. The theme this week at Always Fun Challenges is one layer card. So I wanted to make a one layer card that didn't necessarily look like a one layer card. Not quite sure if I accomplished that, but that's kind of my idea when I started this card. I used this cute little bunny because we lost our rabbit on New Year's Day, and I've just had him on my mind. I just feel awful about it. Our dog was playing with him. We have a little terrier, or he looks more like a whippet. He was playing with him. We didn't know he was outside with him, and within 5 minutes, well, I don't think he had a heart attack because he didn't. We just thought he was in shock. He passed away about an hour later. We tried to put him back in his cage and put a blanket on it and make it nice and dark for him. And I went to check on him, and his breathing went from really fast to really slow, and then he just quit breathing. So we're not really sure what happened to him. We don't know what actually, we don't know what actually happened. But I was very mad at our dog, but I know it wasn't his fault. He was just trying to play with him, but it was an awful experience. Hearing the boy, it was just an awful experience. So I've had him on my mind, so that's why I decided to make a card with a rabbit on it. And that's why I use the missing you sentiment as well. So I'm just going to use these, I'm going to use a circle die to cut out a circle in my masking paper. And I'm just going to hold it up to the light. I can see where my little masked birch is. And holding it up to the light, I can see where I want my circle cut. So I'm just going to tape it down, run it through my die cutting machine, and go from there. He wasn't actually that hard to cut out. The little strings on his beanie hat I was a little worried about, but I actually got them. I cut them out just fine. So I'm getting better at my fussy cutting, that's for sure. So yeah, so I wanted it to look like I had two layers. I was trying to make it look like I cut a circle out of my top panel, and then and Birch was standing outside on that top panel, and then I colored the background behind it, if that makes any sense. That's what I was going for. Yeah, so I went ahead and stamped that background stamp, and then I thought these finger daubers would be the best tool to use to kind of do a distress sky, I don't know, sunrise, sunset. But they have been sitting in my windowsill for about a year, and they weren't quite the same as they used to be. They work really great when when I first got them, I loved them, but I just haven't used them in so long that they were falling apart. And I even tried to move on to the next color here. This is Worn Lipstick. I started off with Fossilized Amber and moved on to Worn Lipstick. But it was becoming clear that it just wasn't blending the way I wanted it to, and it was leaving like little particles of color on my card. I was afraid I was going to smear it and ruin it. So I had a bright idea to bust out my Clarity Stamp stencil brushes, and I used those instead. You know, I forgot I had these actually. I forget what I have sometimes, and then I get them out, and it's like, yes, I remember why I got these. I wanted a really light sky. Yeah, I was thinking more sunrise, but it's whatever you want it to be. So I'm going to add some broken china, and I thought I was going to have enough room for the faded jeans, but I didn't. I was running out of space, so I just moved on to the wilted violet at the very top there. This video is a little bit longer than my other videos because I'm going to do some Copic coloring in it. So if you're not into the coloring, you can just go ahead and skip through that part. But it felt good to get out my Copics again. It's been a while since I've used them, and I just recently took a class from Kit and Clouder, and I am in love with this company. Alice is the one that teaches the class, and she does a really great job of teaching it. I learned more in this one class than I've learned in all the other Copic classes I've taken combined. So it was really worth it. They have a monthly subscription, and you can do either Copic coloring or you could do colored pencils, and I chose to sign up for both. Let me back that up a little. It's not that I necessarily learned more than all my other classes combined. I just think, you know, let's see, how do I say this? So when I took my other classes, I was new to Copic coloring, so I learned a little bit, but now that I kind of get a better feel for them, this class, it just brought me to the next level, I guess is what I should say. Not necessarily that I learned more from this class, because it did go over some of the skills like shading and where to position your light and stuff that I had learned in other classes. But anyway, my point is it's a really great class and definitely worth the money. So I used some of the Nouveau Glimmer paste. I had never used it before, and I wanted to use it. I got it to put it on Christmas cards, but it didn't quite work out, so I just ran out of time. But anyway, this image I thought was perfect. It had a snowy rooftop, and then with the hills here, I used a little bit of, I think it was B000 to add a little blue to the snowy hill here, and then I put the Glimmer paste on top of that, and I thought it turned out really cute. I loved it. And I almost took the mask off, and then I realized I didn't have any other color down in that bottom right corner. So if I took it off, it wouldn't have looked like a full circle. So I took some Salty Ocean and just did some really light blue there. So that way when I remove the mask, you can see that it's meant to be a full circle, not just a oddly shaped half circle. Yeah, I was really happy with the way this turned out. And I almost forgot to color the house. I didn't do it in the video. I did it after the fact, but you don't even need to, really. I thought it would have been cute without coloring it, but I just added some light browns. I think I did E50 range on the house. All right, so here I'm going to do some Copic coloring, so go ahead and skip this part if you're not into watching people color. I personally love to watch people color. I just like to see, the different techniques people use and different color combos and stuff like that. And because of this class, I now go, instead of going from light, I used to go from the lightest color to the darkest to the mid-tone and then back to the light again. And I don't do that anymore. I guess that wastes a lot more ink than necessary. So you can pretty much achieve the same effect by starting with your dark, then moving to your mid-tone, and then go to your lightest shade. So that's what I did, and then I just did it all over again. I started with my darkest. It just seems like it lost some of the shading when I went over it with the lighter color. So I just started with the dark again, went to my mid-tone, and then down to my lightest color. I'll list all the colors that I used over on my blog, but I chose the E70s to color this adorable little bunny. I think the colors turned out really good. Our rabbit was a little bit darker. He looked almost black, but where the sun had hit his fur, it had lightened quite a bit, so it was almost this color. His name was Thumper. I've never had a rabbit before, but he was a pretty cool rabbit. I used to think whenever I would feed him in the morning, or any time of the day for that matter, we'd as soon as the sun would come up, I'd let him run around out front because we have an enclosed front yard, and then I'd bring him in at dark. But in the mornings, I always thought he was trying to bite me well, sometimes he would because he was so hungry. Would bite at the cup that I was trying to feed him. But then I realized that it wasn't even that he was trying to get to the food. He just wanted to be pet. He would nudge my hand and wouldn't even go for the food. He'd just wait for me to sit there and pet him for a couple minutes. And then when I was done petting him, then he would go and chow down on his food. But he was a pretty cool rabbit. Anyway, just gonna do a light shade on the little beanie here. I kind of wanted to do a color that matched one of the colors in the sky, so I chose this really pretty pink color. And then just to add some finishing touches, oh, I'm doing the same thing for the hat. I started with the dark. I only used 2 colors for the hat. Started with the dark, went to the light, and then went back to the dark and back to the light. Colored his little gloves to match. And then I'm going to add some little details with a white gel pen. And I forgot to do this in the video, but I went in after I photographed the card and added some of the Spectrum Noir clear glitter pen to the little beanie hat. Just gave it an extra cute little sparkle to it. So just added some white on the tip of the nose and the eyes and a little bit to the top of the hat. The sentiment I chose was from W+9, a set called Bubble Talk. Ouch, and it just says missing you. And then as one of the finishing touches, I rounded both of the bottom corners. I almost wish I would have rounded the bottom right and the top left. I thought that would have been cute too, but I thought about it after the fact. So just using some Memento Tuxedo black ink to stamp this sentiment. And I'm going to finish it off with a couple sequins. Now, I wasn't quite sure because it's one layer. I don't know if sequins count. I don't think it does because, well, I don't know. Are sequins a layer or is it? I thought it was an embellishment. So when I think of a layer, I think of like another panel of paper, of cardstock or pattern paper, or cutting your image out and having that on top of your, card base. So let me know what you guys think. Do embellishments make it a multi-layered card? Comment below and let me know what you think. I'm interested to hear what the answer to that is. Almost forgot to ground my adorable little Birch. So I just added a ground. Did some light shading. He's so cute. I'm looking forward to using my Copics more often. And my colored pencils. I have polychromos and I have the Prismacolor pencils, and I rarely touch either of them. I just don't know them that well. So hopefully that's going to change with this class. Anyway, that is my card for this week. I hope you will check out the Always Fun Challenges blog and join us this week or next week or whatever week you can. We have a new theme every week and there's always really great entries. So check it out. I'll have a link in the description below and I will see you next week. Thanks. Bye.